Upgrades.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another JVS movie review. Today, we are bringing you a review of a remake that no one asked for. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that no one asked for a remake of this film and that we're getting one. Amazingly, a remake of this film. But the film is White Men Can't Jump. And here's a quick synopsis. Two ballers, opposites who are seemingly miles apart, find they must have more in common than they possibly imagined. And this film is written by TeamJVS, produced by TeamJVS. It's also directed by Calmatic, Charles Kidd II. I think that's his actual name. Calmatic is the name he goes by when he's directing music videos. And he also directed earlier this year the remake of House Party. So this one stars Shaquille Walls as Kamal, Jack Harlow as Jeremy. We got Teyana Taylor playing Imani, Kamal's girlfriend, wife, one of the two in the movie. We got Vince Staples, Miles Bullock, and then Lance Reddick in one of his final roles in this film. My very first thoughts of White Men Can't Jump is this. It's not White Men Can't Jump in any way, shape, form, or fashion. You could think of a multitude of different sports films that this film can remind you of. First one's popped in my head, amazingly, Side Out, because it reminded me of that. That was a volleyball sports movie in the 90s. Airborne, I don't know why it reminded me of Airborne, which is a rollerblading movie in the 90s. And then in the third act, it reminded me of Above the Rim. Why? No apparent reason at all why this movie should ever have any remnants of Above the Rim in it, but boy, does it have remnants of it in the third act for some odd reason here. As a film, though, as something that has to carry on a name with so much tradition, a name of a classic film starring two amazing actors in roles that kind of help define their career in different trajectories when it came out, this film is a letdown, and it's going to be a letdown to those people. I feel if this was named anything else, the reception would be better. Anything else besides White Men Can't Jump. But as we open the film up, we open up the film and we meet Kamal. We meet his dad as he is this top prospect in high school. And we see him being interviewed by ESPN. So it's telling us he's going to go everywhere. He's supposed to be this really great kid. At first, I thought his father was very reminiscent. The character played by Lance Reddick of LeVar Ball. That's what I thought they were going now. That's not the angle that they go fully through with the father, but that's what I thought initially that this dad was going to be here. But we fast forward to now him playing just pickup ball, and we're not told why. And that plays for the rest of the film as we get flashbacks of Kamal's life and how he ended up in a predicament that he ends up at. At this gym playing pickup ball is where we then run into Jeremy, who is played by Jack Harlow, and he plays this character at the beginning, especially the way that real life Woody Harrelson dresses and looks. Like, that's the best way to put it. He reminded me of Woody Harrelson, not from White Men Can't Jump, but Woody Harrelson from life. It was a very weird thing that's the way they chose to play this character of Jeremy. But after that, we get a few basketball scenes, nothing spectacular, but then we get this, feels like forced connection between them two in this film to go down the path of every sports movie humanly possible. But it feels so clunky at the beginning when they meet. The best thing about it is that their chemistry with one another is great. Their chemistry carries this film completely. The plot is horrible. The story is bad. The direction is not bad, but it's not anything that uplifts the material. But these two, Jack and Shaquille, their chemistry is great in this film. Jack is really good in this film. And this is what I mean by this is not White Men Can't Jump. And I'm trying my best to tell you, audience people, try to separate it from White Men Can't Jump and enjoy this film for what you're receiving here. It is not a good remake of White Men Can't Jump. It's no elements of it besides a black and a white man playing basketball that this will be anywhere remotely in the stratosphere of what White Men Can't Jump was. So I immediately attempted to throw that out my way and just enjoy the film that was given to me. And unfortunately for this one, besides their chemistry, The characters are very one note. Nobody in the supporting cast makes sense. And that's weird because that means you're wasting some really talented people here, especially Teyana Taylor and Lance Reddick, who I feel neither one of their characters got the. Those characters should have been able to carry the emotional weight of this film, especially with the story that we later on get between Kamal and his dad. Like that story should have been able to carry the emotional weight of this film. And with Lance Riddick being his father, that should have been amazing. And it felt like they just didn't fully understand what to do with him. And it was more like insert him in points to bring emotion the same way you would bring emotion out of a television film. And as it pertains to Teyana Taylor's character here, what I had hoped for was everybody who remembers White Men Can't Jump, which you remember definitely, along with Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, you remember Rosie Perez's character played in that film and how pivotal and important she was and how amazing she was in that role. And you think with an actress of the caliber of Teyana Taylor in this film that you would get something of that nature. And instead, it is very one-note, non-important characters. It's a lot of people who are non-important in this film. Miles Bullock and Vince Staples play comic relief in this film. Unfortunately, a lot of the jokes are not really set up to be good or proper comic relief, so I don't care. You have Jay Alfonso in this film from P-Valley fame, who for some odd reason is playing Tupac from Above the Rim in a remake of White Men Can't Jump. Why he's playing this character, I don't know. And the entire time he's in it, in the 2 or 3 scenes he's in it, and 2 or 3 scenes where his character is way more important than he should be to this story, you question why is he even in this film? What's the point of this character? It's no point at all for this character. And that is the biggest issue with this film is White Men Can't Jump. There's literally no point for this movie. But it's no, if this was just a generic sports film, which plot-wise, story-wise, direction, everything else says generic sports film. The only thing that doesn't say that is that you took the name of one of the best sports films ever made to push it to an audience and tell them this is the remake of it. It literally feels identical to the way House Party felt. Like you took a name of a classic film and then did another film that has nothing in common with the classic film. It's puzzling that this happened this way. But again, this is a remake no one fully asked for. But again, as it just pertains to the actors' performances here, Jack Harlow is really good in this. Shaquille Wells, he's good in everything he does. Their chemistry is off the charts. I would have loved more Teyana Taylor. I would have loved more of Lance Reddick. I would have loved for the comic relief elements for Miles and Vince to be better in this film. None of that is good. And because none of that is good, you're stuck and left here with a weak plot and a weak story. And you have to coast and ride that out for a good hour and 40 minutes. And it rides off way too long. Like, even the hustling aspects of what you expect from White Man Can't Jump, which is the basketball and the hustling aspects of it, none of it seems realistic. And I don't know if it could be because these 2 young actors aren't actually people who play basketball versus in White Men Can't Jump, it is known that the director put them through camps because he needed the basketball scenes to be realistic. Here, it feels like just a cut and paste, a slicing up of scenes to make the basketball action scene better. And then it's just too big in scope when it comes to them playing basketball. Like, White Man Can't Jump had that neighborhood feel, that hustler's mentality to it. This film takes on that they're hustling at times, but it's just in such a grand fashion that it completely takes you out of everything that's happening here. And I think that's the issue here with White Men Can't Jump, is that this film, 1, doesn't know what it needs to be, 2, doesn't understand the original at all, or you are just so gung-ho on doing something completely different from the original, you should not have named it White Men Can't Jump. It has heavy flaws in it. But what you're going to stick around for is their chemistry on screen, which is really good. But nothing else in this film is good but their chemistry. Again, if it didn't have the name White Man Can't Jump, I swear this would just be a little sports movie that most people would never see, and it would just go by and no one would care. Or maybe some people, because it's a white man and a black man, maybe some people would have made a comparison to White Men Can't Jump. but it wouldn't have been named White Men Can't Jump. So, for that flaw, we get this movie for even naming it White Men Can't Jump. But White Men Can't Jump, coming to you on Hulu. This drops on May the 19th, Friday, May the 19th. It drops. Out of a possible 10, I am going to give White Men Can't Jump a 3 out of 10. Their chemistry is great. That's what pushes this film. But everything else is as generic as humanly possible. Any cliche that you've seen in a sports film or in a semi-hood type of film is in this movie. Whether it be the troubled star who must redeem himself, to the guy who still wants to live his dreams, to the girl who wants to dance and make a living for herself to make it wonderful, to the girl who's doing her hair out of her apartment and now wants to open up a salon and do great and good together. And then it ends like Love and Basketball. I'm not telling you the ending, but you know how Love and Basketball ends at the end, so you know what I mean by that. Like, it's every cliche humanly possible, but none of it done well. And because none of it is done well, Mr. Calmatic has the unfortunate luck of now being part of two of the most unnecessary remakes that this generation has seen in film, in House Party and now White Men Can't Jump. And it's not his fault, and I don't want to put it out there like it is. From a directing standpoint, we clearly see the material's limited, but he does a great job with the material. He does a great job with the scenery. Like, you love the city. You love the landscapes that you see at times here. At times it do feel too big, too grand for White Men Can't Jump, but it is what it is at this point. Like, I think that helps, at least it helps take you out of the thought that this is anything like the original. And I think that's the positive part. The film does just enough to make you not care that this is named White Men Can't Jump. And maybe you sit back and watch it and be like, oh, so instead of judging it based off of White Men Can't Jump, I could just judge it based off of this is not a good sports movie. And that's what you get here. That's why I don't give it a 3 out of 10. It's just not a good sports movie. Great chemistry at times between the two. A scene here and there really can stick out to you. Nothing memorable happens in this entire film, though. And unfortunately, the basketball action into itself doesn't feel that realistic. But check it out when it drops on Hulu. Let us know what you think. This has been another JVS movie review. Peace, people.